One of my favorite digital storytelling forms that has emerged in recent years is locative storytelling. So, locative storytelling is where writers use a GPS in order to create stories that can only be accessed when someone's mobile phone says that you are standing in that place. So, a really famous example of this, probably the most popular one in the world, is a locative novel called The Silent History, in which people literally from all over the world can access parts of the story through their mobile phones as they walk into particular spaces. So, The Silent History, according to their website, is a groundbreaking novel written and designed specifically for iPad and iPhone. It uses serialization, exploration, and collaboration to tell the story of a generation of unusual children born without the ability to create or comprehend language, but perhaps with other surprising skills of their own. You can see here in the image of the novel that in order to access parts of the story, you must literally be standing in particular spaces, and the story will appear on whatever GPS device you have. It will, in fact, tell you as you stand in one specific place the story of how that narrative played out in that area. I find it really fascinating. Again, it's another really interesting way of engaging the reader in the practice of storytelling, right? Because we are so incredibly physically involved in a story when we literally have to pass through a real physical space in order to hear parts of its narrative. So I'll show you a little bit of a video representation of the stories that come up when you are standing in the right spaces.
I was completely dazed for the actual birth, so I didn't know that Spencer was born without making any noise. Ron was worried, but the doctor told him it was a myth that all babies come out crying.
The test showed that she was perfectly healthy, just different. I had no explanation.
He was a beautiful kid, but so quiet. It was like he hadn't figured out he'd been born yet.
I doubled my resolve to get Flora to talk. I knew that no one but me could make it happen.
I had no idea where the silence would be, but I knew there were lots of them. I could feel it. I wanted to find the park where they all played to introduce myself.
The parents were giving up, sending their silent kids away where they'd be someone else's problem.
It's probably the best example of locative media in the world at the moment, and I would highly encourage you to have a look at it yourself. There are some other really wonderful locative storytelling projects happening. For example, there's a free app that you can download, or your students can download to their mobile phones or to their iPads or to their computers, which is called The Disappearing. It's created by the Red Room agency. And the purpose of The Disappearing has been to encourage people to tell poems and stories about the specific places where they live in their community. So the Red Room has invited famous Australian poets to contribute to some areas, but they also want everyday people as well to contribute their own poems of place. Again, that's one of the wonderful things that these new media environments allow us to achieve. We can also be published alongside more known authors. We can contribute to these spaces without asking permission. We can create spaces for students and young people to be authentically published and read in a wide variety of spaces. Some other really interesting digital narratives that are happening around the world at the moment are what's called the text novel, or the mobile phone story. These actually, a few years ago in Japan, were the best-selling genre of fiction. But this phenomena has really gone all around the world now. So you can go onto websites such as textnovel.com and create and sell, and your students can do this, anybody can do this, create and sell your own pieces of mobile phone fiction. They are, of course, stories that are usually told in a serialized form and are very short. Some critics argue this is why they have, in fact, been so incredibly popular, because people tend to read these cell phone novels or text novels on the trains or while waiting in line.